Once again, welcome vinyl community. It's good to see you all here. Mr. Rick here once again, and Clyde, and we're here to present another going down the library of Christmas albums, and this is number 4, I believe, and celebrating the letters G, H, I, and J this week. And we'll jump into it right off the bat here, and we'll go back to 1986. Let me show you an album. This is Crystal Gayle's album. It's called A Crystal Christmas, and it's not a bad album. Crystal Gayle was a pretty good singer. I wouldn't call her a country singer, even though her records played on the country charts, but in her early days she was country, but she got away from it as far as she could, and this album is a good showing of that. It's got a lot of an orchestra behind it and everything, but still it's a good Christmas album. Crystal Gayle, A Crystal Christmas. Here's one I just picked up recently. This is Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin Brothers Band, the Gatlin Family Christmas. And it says this came out in 1982, and that sounds about right, because he was about the time when he was getting pretty famous. And this has got a lot of the classic Christmas hymns on it. As a matter of fact, it's all Christmas hymns. Steve Gatlin produced it. There's the back of it. And that's from 1982, A Gatlin Brothers Band Christmas. All the way back to 1956. This guy here, Jackie Gleason, I love his music. I have a lot of his records because he did something with an orchestra that was a little different, and his stuff I just love the way it sounds. This was monaural, and but this is a good Christmas album. I've heard this a 3 times, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, this is an original 1956 pressing on the turquoise label. And if you can see, the jacket needs a little bit of care. It's pretty well tore up, but the record is in fair to good condition. Merry Christmas from Jackie Gleason. Feliz Navidad. This is Navidad means Christmas. Eddie Gorm'e and the trio Los Panchos. I love Eddie Gorm'e. I think she was a great singer. I've got her album Don't Go to Strangers, which she just kills it, I tell you. But this is an album of her singing especially for the Spanish-speaking community, because all these songs are all done in Spanish. Even though you know the most of them, it's hard to pronounce them because they're all done in Spanish. Blanca Navidad, Alegre Navidad. But still, you know, that's a Eddie Gorm'e. Here's a fellow with a good voice, Robert Goulet. He came out in the early 1960s, and this is from I believe 1963 is when this record came out. This Christmas I Spend With You, and he does an awfully good job on the Christmas songs here. This is a good album also to listen to. I enjoy this quite a bit when I do pull it up and listen to it. Robert Goulet. Here's a guy. I'm not a big organ fan, but I guess if you were to characterize the organs, he would probably be the king of it. Ken Griffin. And the only reason I've got this album is because I don't have any other Ken Griffith albums, but he was a good organist in his day, and this one I think is from somewhere around 1955 or 56. The organ plays at Christmas, and he's got a lot of the old classics on here, and a couple of new ones that I hadn't heard. Kringle's Jingles is one of them, and the rest of them are pretty standard. That's Ken Griffin. And Columbia Special Products put out these albums. If you remember, the Great Songs of Christmas. This is album number 4. And it's got Mary Martin and Robert Goulet and all the people from Columbia Records are on here. There's Mitch Miller and the Brothers Four and the New Christy Minstrels and all them. And this was created exclusively for Goodyear tires back in the day, from the fine folks at Columbia Records. I'm not sure what year that came out, but they had a whole series of those records. And here's Merle Haggard's album, Going Home for Christmas. This actually, he put out another album, which I'll show you in just a minute, from 1973, called Christmas Present. But all he did with this album, Going Home for Christmas, is the only new song on it. The rest of it is just a compilation from an earlier album. He just re-recorded all the songs that were on the album, and it's almost in the same order, with the exception of the hit Going Home for Christmas. There's Merle from 1982, and here's the 1973 album, Christmas Presents, what this is called, and that's his daughters, and that's his wife, Bonnie Owens. She was married to Buck Owens for a lot of years, and then she brought up Merle Haggard, and he married her, and they stayed married for a few years and then got divorced, and she stayed with him though throughout most of his career, and she sang backup for him and everything like that. But that's their album, Christmas Present, from 1973. Here's Emmylou's album. I've shown this a couple of times. This is her Christmas album, Light and Stable. And you can't go wrong with Emmylou. Emmylou is good. I enjoy her music so much. She's really a good singer. She's had quite a career, and she's in the same boat with Linda Ronstadt as far as the early folk rock stuff is concerned. She was in it. There's the back of it, the Light and the Stable. And not a bad album. Not a bad album at all. She does Christmas Time's A-Comin', and Oh Little Town of Bethlehem, and Beautiful Star of Bethlehem, and several of the others. It's a very good one. And here's a fella, Engelbert Humperdinck. He was popular in the 1960s, and I guess early 70s, really. And a good pop singer. And this is his album, Christmas Time, with time spelled T-Y-M-E. And it's just a compilation of Christmas songs, basically. On side one, he does several standards, and then on side two, he links I don't know, 5, 6, or 7 of them together per track, and just does a medley of stuff. So, but this is from 1977, Engelbert Humperdinck's Christmas Time. And here's a fellow by the name of Ferlin Husky. He was a country singer back in the 50s and 60s, and quite popular. Did pretty good. This is his Christmas album, Christmas All Year Long. And I'm not sure exactly when this album came out. I think around 1967. And he's got Santa's Bag and several of the I Wish It Could Be Christmas All Year Long, and Lonely Christmas, and Those Crying and Dying Christmas songs. But he does a few standards in it also. So that's Ferlin Husky, and you can see that one. It's got the sticker on it. They were trying to give it away for $1 back years ago. And if you remember Frosty the Snowman, you remember this guy, Burl Ives. He was another good one. Gosh, Burl was around back in the 1940s and 50s as a folk singer before he joined the country group. And Frosty the Snowman, well, that was a re-recorded of this hit. This came out in 1965, and this is Have a Holly Jolly Christmas, and which is a good tune from Burl there, and he does a bunch of standards on it also. He also did another album called Christmas Eve, which I haven't got, but I'm looking forward to it. Looking for it. And last but not least, what can I say about this guy? If you've never heard any of Spike Jones's records from the 1940s and 50s, it's amazing how he did the timing of his records. Because back in the 40s and 50s, they didn't have tape, so they couldn't go back and re-record anything. Everything had to be timed out just perfectly. And some of the sound effects and things that he does in his records, it's just amazing how they got the timing. I'm sure they'd probably take after take after take, but his records are phenomenal. If you ever get a chance to see any Spike Jones, Pick it up just for a listen. His early stuff in the 40s and 50s, it's amazing how some of the stuff they put together. And this is his Christmas album, Christmas Spectacular. I can't say I've heard this one yet because I haven't. It's on the Verve label. But it's got, gosh, I don't know how many songs on here. It's half a dozen or better. You can see all those tracks there. But ought to be a good album. One of these days I'll pick it out and listen to it. And that takes care of it. That's the letters, all through J anyway. And we'll be back next week with, I guess probably K and L. I'm not sure exactly how far we've gotten into that, but we'll be back for some more next week. Hope you enjoy it. Say goodbye, Clyde. Clyde says happy trails.